Hi guys, Andy here. So recently I bought the Mi Mix 3, which is a £500 device from Xiaomi. So I thought the ideal thing to put it up against would be the OnePlus 6T, which is also a £500 device. So on the left we have the Mi Mix 3 with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 chipset, an octa-core processor, Adreno 630 and 6GB of RAM. Whereas on the right we have the OnePlus 6T with a Snapdragon 845, an octa-core processor, Adreno 630 and 6GB of RAM. So entirely identical specs on these two devices, but different software on them. Hopefully it'll still make for an interesting test, because of course not everything will be based directly on those specs. We're starting off with the fingerprint sensor test, the Mi Mix 3 just slightly winning that one, the 6T failing on that one. I have edited a couple of bits, because if I totally missed the actual sensor, I don't think it's fair to include that as part of the test. When I do get them both, I do think the Mi Mix 3 is slightly quicker, and I generally do have a lot of problems with the 6T's fingerprint sensor, so I will award the fingerprint sensor to the Mi Mix 3. We're moving on to Angry Birds opening test. That pop-up, it doesn't slow down the boot up in any way, it's just kind of telling you it's going into gaming mode. And it's interesting because the OnePlus 6T looks to be ahead there, but then the Mi Mix 3 comes through right at the very end, and it's tiny difference, but it's slightly quicker. We're going on to the second run through, similar thing, the 6T slightly ahead, the 6T holds on to the slight lead, but it's almost identical. So a third run through, the Mi Mix 3 looks to be ahead, and the Mi Mix 3 does win that one. I am going to award that to the Mi Mix 3, but it's such a minimal difference. I almost shouldn't give it to either of them. But we're going to move on to the Geekbench 4 test. Geekbench 4 is not really anything good to look at, so we're going to jump ahead to the end, and you see the OnePlus 6T is the winner. But again, it's such small amounts. But because I awarded Angry Birds 2 to the Mi Mix 3 on a small amount, I'm going to award Geekbench 4 to the OnePlus 6T on a similarly small amount. We could run it again and get, well, I know for a fact that we run both and get similar results to that, so we'll stick with it. We're heading outside now to do the GPS test. So I'm going to start off by clearing the GPS data, then I'm trying to get them both closed at a similar sort of time, and then I'm going to open them both up. And the Mi Mix 3 is the first one to lock, but it's so close. The Mi Mix 3 has more satellites locked, but the OnePlus 6T is slightly more accurate. I'm going to call it a tie. I entirely encourage you to keep your own score as we're going along. This is just my score. We're going to come back indoors to test the speakers, both of them bottom firing speakers.
Tell me where to go, tell me what to do. I'll be right there for you. Tell me where to go, tell me what to do. I'll be right there for you.
In the garbage, afraid to put tires on it, headphones on it, straight ahead. Kids try and start ish, but kids try and start ish. But if this is all there is for me, light off is white bother. This is all there is for me, light off is white bother. Even trying to put up a fight's nonsense. Been trying to put up a fight's nonsense, but I think a light bulb just lit up in my.
There's not a huge amount between them, but the OnePlus 6T does have the slightly better sounding speaker, slightly better volume, slightly more rounded.
Essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. It also essentially gave organizations like GCHQ and the NSA a free rein to go do mass surveillance. It also overturned a lot of the rules and laws, and now we're in the situation where people are
cases, who the users are, and the government's trying to basically subpoena all this information out of the big cloud providers. And the challenge.
So again, I'm never sure how this comes across on my microphone for the video, but the OnePlus 6T does sound like a better speaker. Neither of them amazing, but I know the OnePlus 6T generally is one of the loudest speakers I've used, so it has its advantage in that respect. We're moving over to the screen brightness test. I've got my nice bright white screen. I've turned off adaptive brightness on both devices and cranked the brightness right to full. 767 for a split second there. 768, and on the OnePlus 6T 768. Will either of them beat 768? My camera can't decide what to focus on. 767. No, so both of them with the brightest of 768. It's another tie. This is really quite surprising, even on the things that aren't based on those identical specs. These devices are so similar. So similar. So we're on to the Chrome browser test. I've cleared the browsing history. Oh, I mean, here we are again. How do you separate these two devices? We'll go into the NFL.com. The 6T slightly ahead on the second one. So it's one tie and one to the 6T, I would say. We'll go to the last one, which is the Verge. And the Mi Mix 3 edges that one through. So it's 1 and 1 with a tie. And I think that sums it all up. So, I mean, everything was so close. Everything. And the only things really that I would say is if the fingerprint sensor is important to you, then it's perhaps the Mi Mix 3. If the speaker is a bit more important, it's perhaps the OnePlus 6T. Obviously there are other things that I don't test, the cameras I don't test in here, but actually they look quite similar from just brief usage with the Mi Mix 3 at this point. A big factor, or I suppose there's two big factors I've not really mentioned: battery, which I think would go to the OnePlus 6T, and software, I think almost certainly would go to the OnePlus 6T. So, well, as I said, keep score yourself. Let me know in the comments how you scored it. To me, it's very much a tie, but I would give it to the OnePlus 6T on the extra bits that I just mentioned, being the battery and the software. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon. Well done, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you might want to click the little fellow that should hopefully appear about here to subscribe. You may also want to check out some of my other videos, which are going to appear somewhere there. Also, come and have a look at my website, androidandy.uk. There is also a forum. Come and say hello on the forum if you've got any questions about things, or request me to review things, or anything else. Just come and have a chat on the forum.